Hello and welcome to your Astro forecast for the week of September 29th through October 5th. This is a much deserved slowdown week, and I am processing that energy in my own body with a seasonal cold. So that's fun. So if you hear a little nasally in my voice, or if I have to clear my throat a few more times, or take a couple more sips of what is not tea, it is hot water with lemon and honey. That is why. I'm also going to try and keep this reading a manageable length so that I can get some more rest today. But just know that generally I consider myself the canary in the coal mine. And whenever something happens in my life or my energy, it's reflective of what's coming for the general collective. So maybe not literally getting sick, although please take your vitamin C, take care of yourself, drink plenty of water, get plenty of rest. But there is a feeling of needing to slow down and integrate as we move into this next month. So, with that in mind, hello, welcome. I'm Michelle Shea Walker. I'm here to give you your glass half full on the week ahead. Yes, even when I'm sick, I can be an optimist. And I'm going to also end the reading with the personal reading draw for anyone who has become a paid subscriber or tipped their reader this week. So, if you did one of those two things, stick around because you might win. We're going to dive in to what is thankfully a relatively sparse week with astrology. So we're going to be relying a lot on the cards and also on my energy read. If you don't know, in addition to reading cards and dabbling in astrology, I'm also an energy healer. So a lot of times when I'm doing this reading, I'm tapping into sort of a feeling and emotion behind the cards, the astrology, the energy. It's not so much about the textbook definition of these things. They are just a tool that I use to trigger those intuitive impulses. So with that in mind, let's dive into Monday, September 29th. We are closing out the month of September with the moon moving into Capricorn, 4:55 a.m. Central Standard Time in America. And that's, I've mentioned this before, the moon moves through the signs every single month. We get all of the signs. So it's not groundbreaking, earth-shaking energy shifts that happen when the moon moves signs. But if you do have a natal moon in Capricorn, you might find that you are more prone to need to purge your emotions while the moon is in Capricorn. And for those of us that don't have a natal moon in Capricorn, there is a little bit more of a tendency to think your feelings rather than feel your feelings during this time period. So just be sure that you're still staying in touch with your emotions and expressing yourself and not kind of bottling things up for the outside world. For the benefit of appearances is what I think I want to say there. The card for Monday is the Eight of Swords. Now, I'm going to tell you right away, little spoiler, we have a lot of swords coming through this week, which means that there's a lot of intellectualizing and thinking things through, maybe to our benefit, maybe to our detriment. Again, we want to make sure that we're not thinking our feelings rather than feeling our feelings. So try not to overanalyze every aspect of your life this week, but also know that there is importance in giving yourself the time and the space to kind of mull things over, to think things through, to clear your head. It's a really good week for meditation. It's a really good week for the practice that Julia Cameron calls morning pages. If you're not familiar with that, it's basically just a brain dump. You can do it the specific way that she subscribes it, but you can also just get out a journal and not edit yourself as you are letting your thoughts pour onto the page, because that is really important when we get into these really swordsy, analytical Capricorn moon energies, rather than trying to let our emotions and our feelings and everything that's going on just swim around in our heads. We need to kind of get those cluttered thoughts out so that we can find a little clarity. The Eight of Swords is indicating, and then on Monday, we are getting ready to extract ourselves from a situation that hasn't been serving us. Could be a relationship, could be a job, could just be a mindset or a habit. And quite frankly, my own energy read of October is that it's a really good month to integrate new routines and to shift into new habits. So this could be kind of the last gasp in September of us kind of getting fed up with our own BS and knowing that we want to move forward into October with a new routine, a new mindset, a new way of doing things. So this is always a message that you have the power to walk away from the things that you feel tied to at any time. So if you have an addictive pattern, addictive habit, something that's not serving you, an addiction can run the gamut. It could be an addiction to an actual substance like alcohol or drugs. It could be an addiction to a person or relationship in your life, or it also could be an addiction to a mindset, a thought pattern, or a way of living your life. If you have a tendency to constantly reach for X, Y, and Z as a coping mechanism, whether that's hard drugs or social media, it's a really good time to evaluate the things that are keeping you from moving forward towards your goals and your dreams, even if they are those soft addictions. So that's what's Monday. I think that it's a really good day to evaluate, especially with the moon in Capricorn, what's going to benefit the big picture energy, because Capricorn is very sort of like a CEO boss mindset, in that we're going to have the eye on the big picture. It's an emperor energy. It's moving towards the ultimate goals and being able to arrange the littler aspects of your life to work towards those goals. And so this is about arranging your daily routines to work towards your greater goals, even if that means letting go of those soft addictions. Moving into Tuesday, no astrology or nothing of note. So we're going to talk about the card. We still have the moon in Capricorn on Tuesday, and we have the Six of Swords. Now, the Six of Swords is a great card to be following the Eight of Swords, even though it sounds counterintuitive because one's a higher number than the other one. But the Six of Swords is about moving away from a chapter that's done. So it could be possible that on Monday, you're figuring out those things that aren't serving you. And by Tuesday, you really are ready to move forward, which again makes sense for the energy grid on October, because we're going to be integrating these new healthier habits as we move into October. So the first 2 days of the week are really just kind of like cleaning out the clutter, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. What are the things that are getting in your way of doing what you dream? And then by Tuesday, you could be moving in the direction towards those dreams and leaving those things that were getting in your way in the past. Again, could be relationships, could be a job, could be a mindset, could be a soft addiction. But we are turning our backs on those things and we're moving in a new and more aligned direction on Tuesday. Wednesday, start of October, we have the moon moving in Aquarius at 2:52 p.m. Central Standard Time. So again, if you have a natal moon in Aquarius, you might find that you're more likely to want to purge your emotions, because that's going to like tap into that like innermost part of you. If you don't have a natal moon in Aquarius is they get a bad rap for not being emotional and being a little too logical and Spock-like. But as an Aquarius rising, I can tell you that it's not so much that energy doesn't have emotions. It's that it's always for like a higher mindset, a greater good. Aquarius is really good about sort of like rising above the fray and not necessarily seeing the bigger picture in a CEO mindset like Capricorn energy can, but seeing sort of like what's for the greater good of humanity and like where is this taking us? And the good thing about Aquarius energy is that they're also not just about the good. Aquarius energy can very much see how our challenges, our strives, our conflicts can move forward towards the greater good in the long run. So it's not so much looking at the big picture and hoping that everything's unicorns and rainbows. It's about recognizing the good in all aspects of humanity and how we're constantly progressing forward, or hopefully progressing forward. So it could be a good day to, again, see the brighter side of the coin, of the glass half full perspective, to be able to look at the things in the world or in your life that are currently bothering you or feeling like they're not going the way that they ideally would be, and then seeing the lessons and the greater good that could be coming from that less than ideal current situation. So that's my recommendation for Moon and Aquarius energy. We also have Mercury square Jupiter. So the planet of communication is sort of not in a supportive energy with the planet of luck and expansion. So it may not be the best day to make a big announcement. It may not be the best day to have a really difficult conversation with someone. It's really more of a day of, I think, continuing to integrate those habits, those mindsets that we started at the end of the month, and making sure that we're ready to move into our own energy before we communicate something to the outside world. The card that's coming in with this is the Two of Swords. Again, lots of swords energy this week, lots of getting in our head. The Two of Swords reversed in this case is a card of, we have been feeling caught between a rock and a hard place, but when it's reversed, we're coming out of that mindset. We're seeing a different perspective. We're taking off the blindfold, and we're able to kind of, again, utilize the lessons that we've learned in conflict to grow, to change, to move forward in a way that's healthier and more aligned with the greater good. Moving on, Thursday, quieter astrology. The universe is giving us a bit of a break this week. The card, another swords, is the Five of Swords reversed. So Thursday, we are putting down swords. We are recognizing the things that are no longer worth our energy to fight for. And that's not like giving up on your, heart's greatest calling and the cause that you believe in most. It's recognizing that certain people are not worth your energy to fight with, even if they don't believe the things that you do and support the things that you do. Again, this is very much right along with our glass half full perspective. I love to think of the Mr. Rogers quote, which is that whenever something's happening, look for the helpers. So this energy is letting go of the idea that we need to fight against the people that are doing the things we don't want, and instead put our energy towards things that are supporting the cause and focus the energy there, because there's a feeling of, whether it be on a grand scale or in your personal life, you've been trying to change someone's mind, to shift someone's beliefs, to make someone change that is just not willing or ready to change. And you are wasting valuable and vital energy that could be put towards something more productive. So stop fighting against the things that aren't ready to change and go towards the change that you are ready to create in your own life. Moving into Friday, we have Venus opposite the North Node. We also have another opposition with Mercury opposite Chiron. So with Venus opposite the North Node, we have our love, our creativity, our sensuality, our sense of aesthetic in opposition. So not so supportive, kind of on the other end of the spectrum of the North Node, which is sort of the general movement forward of the collective at this time, our sort of true north, our purpose at this moment. It's 2:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So it's very early in the day. This might be something that's coming through in your dreams. It's also just just being aware that, we don't constantly have perfect alignment with our purpose, and that's okay. And sometimes we need to go off course a little bit to give ourselves a break. So this could be an indicator of, like, if you've been really driving towards a cause and you're exhausting yourself and feeling burnout, like, Venus is a planet of luxury and beauty and just indulging yourself. And this could just be like, take a break, take a break from the fight. You just tried to put down your swords the day before. So it feels like a good time to take a break from the fight, to just nourish yourself, to surround yourself with beautiful things, surround yourself with the things that you love, and reinvigorate your soul. We also have Mercury opposite Chiron, which is the planet of communication, opposite our wounded healer aspects. So again, we have kind of like a heavier energy of sort of this life purpose, life healing with something else that's not in support of it. So it's not a great day to necessarily communicate about your personal life lessons and your past pain. So a lot of times Chiron can be not only what we're here healing this lifetime, but also what we're here to teach others about this lifetime once we've healed. So it just may not be the day to give a speech on what you've learned in your life lessons and your healing, or try to convince someone else that your path to healing is the right way. Just take a break on Friday from all of the grander, like trying to shift the energy of the world movements. And this is also supported by our card, which is the Ten of Cups reversed. And the Ten of Cups is an energy of celebration and community and having everything that you need in a way that's very sort of like, I don't want to say small, but that intimate, like chosen family unit energy. This is, yes, maybe about your community and like your neighborhood as well, but this isn't necessarily about having to go outside of that like safe little nest that you've built for yourself, whatever that might look like. It could be you in your safe home with your pets. It could be you and your family. It could be you and your, inner circle of your friends, but whatever safe little cozy nest you've built for yourself, this is about enjoying that. And when it's turned reverse, I really feel like it's about a quiet enjoyment. It's like it's a good day to, again, we're not doing a lot of pushing in the outside world on Friday. So it's a good day to turn in, to nourish yourself, to surround yourself with beautiful things, to surround yourself with things that restore your soul and restore yourself for whatever it is that you've been working towards. Again, I said at the beginning of the reading, I think that my getting a cold this week is a metaphor for the greater collective needing to take a break, to rest, to let our immune system, our soul, our mindset, everything in our life catch up to this next stage that we're going into. So if you need to take a break and not do the hard work this week, it's a really good week. And especially on Friday, it's a really good day to take a break from the harder stuff and just enjoy the simple pleasures. Moving into Saturday, we also have in the evening hours on Friday, moon moving into Pisces. So if you're a Pisces moon like me, you might be more likely to purge the emotions, but Pisces is also really like daydreamy and nostalgic and the lover, the poet, the creative of the zodiac. So like you might be indulging when you go in that little cocoon where you feel safe and you take a break from the bigger fight, you might find that you have some creative inspiration, or even that you just have like a flight of fancy. And we've got our squirrel outside the window. I think that's a good sign. Even if you just have like a flight of fancy and you let yourself daydream for the evening, like just enjoy the things that you love on Friday and let that be a true vacation from whatever it is that you've been working really hard towards. Saturday, quiet astrology, another swords card. We have the Knight of Swords. So if there was a day this week to feel like you wanted to take action forward, Saturday could be that day, because the Knight of Swords is like a quick movement towards a goal. However, it's also sometimes a warning that you don't want to dive into the pool unless you know that there's water in there. And so it's kind of a two sides of the coin situation. And I think you're supposed to really trust your intuition, especially depending on how much rest and restoration you got on rest and restoration. That was a little redundant. Relaxation and rest that you got on Friday will determine how ready you feel to dive forward on Saturday. And if you still feel exhausted on Saturday, then the Knight of Swords is maybe a warning that there's no water in the pool and you don't want to dive in just yet. If you feel rested and rejuvenated and just ready to take action and you feel re-inspired from something that the Pisces moon gave you, then it's a good day to dive in. Sunday, we have the moon moving into Aries in the early morning hours, 1:48. Nope, I lied. In the afternoon hours, 1:48 p.m. And we have our first and only major arcana card of the week. So I feel like this first week, again, is letting go of the habits that aren't serving us, reintegrating new habits that are serving us, knowing when we need to take rest, and then knowing when it's time to dive in and when it's time to continue to rest. And then Sunday, we have the Wheel of Fortune, which is coming in with a change of fate. We have literally changed our fate, changed our stars by going through the process that we've gone through, not just this past week, for several years, I'm sure, but this past week has been sort of the solidification of what we've learned for years and years. And we're really taking those lessons that we've learned. We're letting go of the things that aren't serving us. We're moving towards the things that are serving us. We're integrating new habits, new routines, new lifestyle shifts. We're knowing when we need to take rest and enjoy life to be able to feel restored for whatever it is that we're fighting for. And this is giving us a shift in our fortune. Now, it's also like a double-sided coin with the Wheel of Fortune. If you feel like you've had some really good fortune recently, it could be that you're on the downside of the wheel, because ultimately, if the wheel's moving forward, we're going to have upswings and downswings. So I do not want you to fear a downswing on the wheel. The downswing on the wheel could just be a period of sort of like stagnation, of like you've had a lot of stuff happen for you recently and you get a little bit of a lull, and that's good because that's part of that resting process. But it could also be a little downturn in luck. But the message behind the wheel is always really enjoy the good times, because they're going to help you get through the bad times. And so if you're in an upswing on the wheel this Sunday, enjoy it, soak it up, let it be like you're in the sunshine, soaking up the warmth into your cells, because ultimately you are going to eventually have a downswing, because that's the way we move forward. So it's nothing you did wrong, but soak up what's feeling good so that when things get a little less good, you know what you're moving forward for. The memory of the good times gets you through the bad times because it gives you a purpose to drive towards. So this is almost kind of like a sort of like cycle of the seasons as well. Like it feels like the upswing is like spring and summer, when we're soaking up the sun, we're having more social time. And then the downswings are fall and winter, whenever we're, going within a little bit, we're a little more disconnected from the world. We're, we're turning inward, we're feeling colder. We need the warmth. We need the memory of the warmth to know what we're moving towards. So that is Sunday's message. But I also think for most of us, it's going to be an upswing of luck if you followed the path that you need to in integrating these new lessons. So it's crazy how quickly luck can find you when you let go of the patterns that are not serving you. The universe will reward you probably sooner than you think when you walk away from toxic relationships, toxic habits, toxic situations. And it takes a leap of faith to get there, which is why you get so well rewarded for doing it. So this could be a reward on Sunday, big or small. But know that whether it's a reward or it's a stagnation or something that feels less lucky, either way, the good things are coming. They're either coming right now or they're coming once you get through this downswing. That is our week. Now, I want you to really make sure that you are resting up, getting everything together, letting go of the things that don't work for you, because next week we do start off with a full moon. So we're going to get ready for that illuminating energy by doing all the things that I just talked about in this reading. If you are a paid subscriber, stick around because we're going to do the drawing. And if you're not a paid subscriber, I always say that if you feel called by your intuition to stick around, if you're just intrigued by what's going to happen next, that's probably a sign that whoever wins this reading has some sort of similar thread of energy to something in your life. And there's going to be a piece of advice or several pieces of advice in this next reading. So please feel free to stick around, even if your name is not called. But we are going to do a little thank you for my paid subscribers and then spin the wheel. So first up, I want to thank Tracy, who won last week's reading. So she's not on the wheel, but she's a paid subscriber, and I thoroughly appreciate that support. Tracy, if you didn't see your reading, it's at the end of last week's video. I also want to thank my other paid subscribers, Caitlin, Francis, Amanda, Sonia, Jane, and Holly. I appreciate you so much, and we're going to find out who gets a personal reading this week. Holly, congratulations. We're going to dive into your personalized reading. And you know what? I feel like I did this last time you won a reading, but I'm feeling called to doing just goddess cards. So the goddesses are definitely hanging out with you recently. And I know you have a copy of the first edition of the Total Bitty Goddess deck. So I would say if you haven't been working with that deck, maybe give yourself some extra incentive to have that be part of the daily routines that you're integrating. Maybe it's that you do a card pull for yourself every day and kind of give yourself a heads up on the energy, or at least a heads up on the spiritual forces that are supporting you in that time period. And we're going to do a past, present, future using the second edition prototype of the Total Bitty Goddess deck. P.S. If you're watching this and you like the 90s and you want to know more about the goddesses, but you wanted to do it in a colorful, punky way, first edition of the Total Bitty Goddess deck has only 3 copies left. It comes with the coloring guidebook, and it's available over at michelleshaywalker.com. I don't know when and if the second edition will ever be printed. That's a process that I'm constantly kind of evaluating. So if you want a copy of this deck, I'd go for that one. I'd go for the first edition. And then also you just get clout because you have a copy of the first edition, which was a limited printing. Okay, so Holly, we're going to do past, present, future cards. We're going to see what goddesses have been assisting you and are continuing to assist you in whatever endeavors are currently occurring in your life. Ooh, okay, we got 1, 2, and got one more, 3. Okay, past, present, future. So the first 2 are green cards, borders. So that feels like a power color. It's also the color of the heart chakra. So if that is something that's calling out to you at this time period, heart chakra work, heart chakra shining is going to be a really good thing to be working with. But your recent past card, and excuse me, I am a reader, not a speaker, and some of these I will mispronounce most likely. But our first goddess card is Ibeji, which is a twin goddess played by Tien Tamara Mari from Sister Sister. Hello, 90s fans. And it is a card of joyful reunion. The story behind these goddesses is kind of a separation and reunion soul story. And so very much like the Sister Sister storyline. So this is a card of coming together with a like-minded twin soul. I know enough about your personal life to say that I might know what this is talking about, but if it resonates for something else, it can be romantic, it can be platonic, it can be coming together with a soul business partnership. But this is coming together with someone who aligns with your soul, who feels like a mirror back to you for the things that you're learning and progressing and healing, and it's a beautiful reunion. So that is the recent past. The present is Ariadne, played by Christina Ricci and Adam's Family and Adam's Family Values. So this is actually indicative of both a little bit of inner child work and a little bit of like F what society says. This is definitely, because obviously Wednesday Addams is going against the grain a bit. So this is a carve out your own path type thing. So I think that there are things occurring in your life right now in which you're being called to do things a little non-traditionally. And that Libra moon people pleasing energy might be kind of getting in the way of that or making you second guess that. But Ariadne is here to tell you to really embrace the callings of your inner child, your inner angsty teen, and move towards what you want, regardless of what people are telling you to do. This is kind of rebellious teen energy that we all have within us all of our life. So really embrace that rebellious teen energy in regards to whatever it is that society is kind of telling you you're doing it wrong, and you're like, you feel in your soul you're doing it right. It's like, let yourself be the weirdo. Let yourself be that Wednesday Addams character and shake up the system. The near future is Queen Marimba, played by Whitney Houston in The Bodyguard. So this is a very musically based card and goddess. If music is not something that's calling out to you in your life right now, that's okay. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you are a singer or a musician and you're performing, although that is kind of the marker of this goddess, this card, because obviously Whitney Houston's character is pop sensation and the bodyguard, but it's really more of a feeling of uniting around like melody and song and the things that can happen in regards to that. As a fellow Swiftie, I would not be surprised if this isn't just talking about the launch of Taylor Swift's album this week and uniting in that community. I don't know how that fits into the grander scale of this picture. And sometimes, honestly, that's the great thing about these past, present, future cards. Like sometimes they are dealing with a specific topic all the way through, and we're talking about this grand arch in your life and the things that are happening. This almost feels like it's just like little snippets of what's going on for you. That like in the recent past, we've had a union with a twin soul, a like-minded soul. In the present, we're learning to embrace that inner rebellious teen. And in the near future, you're uniting with a greater community around song that you love, which is, the life of a showgirl. So I didn't know that I was going to be plugging Taylor Swift's album in this forecast, but here you are. So I'd say just enjoy those aspects of your week. And I do think that there maybe is something in Taylor Swift's album that's going to help you feel empowered to embrace that rebellious teen. I think that that's part of what this message is that there's going to be some resonant lyrics, some themes that really just call to your soul when it comes to wanting to carve out your own path and go against what society expects of you. So I hope that reading served you well. I'll take a peek at the bottom card, which is Bastet, played by Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman in Batman Returns. I just watched this movie last night, actually. She is a card of really being unapologetic about seeking pleasure. So I think that goes along very well with our embracing your rebellious teen and carving out your own path. What makes you feel pleasurable? What makes you feel good? Forget what society says about it. And honestly, that resonates for the Taylor Swift album as well. So embrace your desires in life with the same unabashed and unapologetic energy that you embrace your fandom for Taylor Swift is my message for you this week. And if someone else is watching this and Taylor Swift doesn't resonate, pick your artist of choice that maybe not the whole world loves, but you absolutely love, and it doesn't matter that nobody else likes them. So that is the gist of this week. That is our summary of the first week of October, last end of September. Again, don't be afraid to rest up. Don't be afraid to change things up. And don't be afraid to change your stars and shift your fortune. I wish you the best of luck. And if you want to be part of the personal reading next week, become a paid subscriber in the links below or go tip your reader $1 or more. Thank you so much for being here.